Hello everyone and welcome to my video. Today I am discussing Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So I just wanted to talk about my intuitive impressions of the energy of this period and what it will mean for you and how we can best take advantage of this energy. Astrology and astrological events have so much to offer us in a variety of ways, and there's always a energy that can benefit us if we choose to interact with its influence. So Mercury retrograde is no different, even though some of us have come to view it with some alarm. It is just another event. Hello and welcome everyone, by the way, to my video. I hope you are having a wonderful evening. So this Mercury retrograde is in Pisces, and it has begun today, and it will be in retrograde until March 9th. So during this period, Mercury is associated to the way that we think, the way we express ourselves, and how we communicate with others. The sign of Pisces is associated to our emotions, dreams, fantasy, and intuition. Retrograde is always a reference to, it's always a time of reflection, review, and reconsidering things. So it can be quite a good thing. The energy present in this retrograde is centered on the heart and emotional memory. So all these three qualities together create a period in which we are going to be asked to review the various areas of our lives, especially relationships and our personal dreams for ourselves. It'll be an opportunity to review and reflect on our dreams, our tears, regrets, and the plans that we made for ourselves. The ideas that we had for ourselves about our own lives, our ideas that we had about our relationships. These are all things that when we are disappointed can be extremely hard to let go of. And Pisces always makes me think of fantasies that we can hold about our romantic interests or the other people in our lives, about ourselves, about situations that have passed. So this review period is bringing all these emotions to our conscious awareness for us to think about and ruminate over. And it's highlighting how we have been interacting and communicating with others in these interactions in which we have strong ideas about what we think things should be, and having to lay those things to rest and to release these things, these unfulfilled fantasies, these unfulfilled ideas, these unfulfilled emotions. This is a type of energetic block that, at least to my observance, doesn't get talked about a lot, and I've not mentioned before. But sometimes we can have emotional blocks about things that didn't happen or didn't come to fruition, or that when our expectations or hopes weren't fulfilled. So, as morbid as it might sound, this is a period to review and release dead dreams, especially those that involve what we hoped for from others. So we can actually make this retrograde a time of renewal and genuine emotional liberation. This is a great period to shed and release all of these old wounds and disappointments, and to free ourselves of our own expectations and dreams that didn't come into being. So hopefully you can see how this can be quite a great thing. And there are a lot of things that we can do during this period to take advantage of this energy, whether it's meditation, writing in a journal, various rituals and spells to assist us in this releasing of things that didn't come into being or that never were. So, those are my thoughts about that. And I hope that gives you some food for thought to reflect on these points. And to assist you in this, I do have a special reading and healing offer, which I like to do after my little discussions. Also, if anyone has questions about Mercury retrograde or what have you, you're welcome to ask. You can ask in the comments or message me directly for that. So my special offer to you, and it's not just today, but anytime throughout Mercury retrograde period, so until March 9th, I am offering a 15-minute session in which I will read your energy for what needs to be released during this period. And I will do a brief energy healing to actually assist you in releasing it. Depending on the nature of it, it may be released instantaneously during the healing, or it may trigger a process in which you're able to process and release that thing throughout the next few days or weeks. So I am offering this 15-minute session for $30. If you're interested in that, the link to pay is in the description of the video, or you can message me directly. If you have any questions about this service, let me know in Messenger. I also offer full private readings and healings, which you can book through Facebook Messenger or go to my website, bysanderclairvoyant.com/services. So what it is we will need to release will be different for everyone, but that is kind of the gist of what is going to be highlighted for us during this period. I think I'm going to take a moment to kind of tune into the future, because I read the future frequently, for any other messages that there are for you about what Mercury retrograde has in store for us. So what I'm sensing of the energy in the weeks ahead, some of which I've already mentioned, is that it will be a very emotional time. We will be feeling very sensitive and connected to our hearts, and we may be easily wounded, especially by constant reminders from those around us or our situations of our disappointments and things that didn't come to fruition. Whether it was a project or achievement, family, relationships, certain hopes about our situations, and so on. So we may find ourselves in a bit of a depression if we get stuck in thinking on this rather than consciously reviewing it, which is why it's being brought to our attention. Mercury is our mind and our consciousness, bringing these things to light for our analysis and choosing to release them and allow these things to be left behind in the past so that we can approach, at the end of retrograde, life with fresh eyes, and that we can respond to life in the present and give ourselves the things that we need now rather than giving us the things that we wanted in the past. I hope that nuance is understandable. We keep trying to feed ourselves with things that we want in the past, trying to reclaim a lost hope or lost fantasy, but that needs to be laid aside now. And our needs are different now. We've grown up and our life has moved on, even if we haven't. And when we release these things, we will be more aware of what our heart truly needs. what it is that will actually emotionally feed us. So that is what I sense about the period. That is just the influence that is being exerted. Ultimately, it is up to you how you will respond and choose to use this astrological event. The most tumultuous periods are when it goes into retrograde and when it comes out. During the middle, we tend to adjust to the energy and things calm down. So don't be afraid of Mercury retrograde. It doesn't mean that automatically everything is terrible. It doesn't mean that communication is off the table and impossible and that you'll fight. It is, again, kind of repeating myself a little bit, bringing all that emotional baggage up to consciousness, which of course will make us a bit more sensitive to things that maybe we brush aside most of the time, comments or things that happen and what have you. We'll be more in tune with those deeper things, so we will more readily respond. So this is a great time for personal reflection, to get in touch with yourself, with what it is you're really feeling, and to kind of have some self-honesty and reflect about all the things I've talked about. This video will be available for replay if you want to go over it again. I might go back and listen to what I said sometimes when I am intuitively speaking, and as soon as I say it, it's out of my head. So to sum up, the focus of this period will be on our emotional memories, lost hopes, and disappointed expectations, kind of living in the past in our heart, maybe not anywhere else. And that this is an excellent period to review all the areas of our life for where this phenomenon is happening and consciously shed it, put the past in the past, especially when it comes to unfulfilled expectations and hopes, just to allow them to dissolve, because they are becoming or already are emotional blocks in your energy, preventing you from moving into new situations, preventing you from attracting abundance, new love, new things, new wonderful events happening in your life, because you're still holding on to things that didn't happen. So it may seem strange because we tend to get hung up about bad things that happened, but we can also get hung up about good things that didn't happen. So there is that. Let yourself cry. Pisces is very sensitive and emotional, so allow yourself outlets for all of these feelings that you'll be experiencing. Find what's good for you. It's healthy, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, whether it's jealousy, disappointment, whatever. There are positive ways that you can give yourself that release and express those feelings. And maybe Mercury retrograde is known for misunderstandings and communication, but I think that it's actually all this stuff that's up for review that's trying to get out, and we're trying to say it to other people, and we can't help ourselves but for it to explode out a little bit. So if you're consciously aware of it, you can choose how you communicate that, or at least when. And by the nature of it, it will probably be a conversation that is vaguely unpleasant, depending. So this is going to be a powerful time, and you can come out of it clean, fresh, renewed, and ready to embrace new things and really be here for what life has to offer you. And when you clear those pathways, you may be surprised about the shifts that happen in yourself and in your life. I'm going to look through the comments to see if there's any questions. Lana asks, what is the best way to go with your intuition? I sometimes don't know the difference between my intuition and what I just want. That is an excellent question. And that is part of the learning process when you are pursuing spirituality, is kind of learning that. There's a few things that our intuition can be confused with, are very powerful emotions. So, one of the things that helped me is having to create structured ways of accessing my intuition so that my conscious mind and therefore emotions could not interfere. So this may be a little tedious to do, but it's a good training exercise. I'm going to share it with you, Lana, and everyone else watching. So what I used to do when I was learning to open up my clairvoyance and separate it from my conscious biases is that I would take a few little scraps of paper and I would write a question on each one. This works better if you use multiple questions, even if some of them are kind of just stuff you already know, so that you don't know, well, because you're going to take the slips of paper and put them in envelopes so that they all look the same and shuffle them so you don't know what question you will be answering. So obviously, can't quite do that with one question. You'll have to have multiple things you want to ask. It could be multiple questions about the same situation, but that is a way to do that. So I would shuffle them, and I would pick one up at a time, and I would write down all of my impressions and information that I received. You may find a voice recorder better if it's hard for you to write as fast as you perceive things. So whatever works for you. You'll want to record it because you're actually going to do that for every single envelope without opening them or looking at the questions. So you'll want to record your impressions so you don't get them mixed up later. Obviously, and keep your envelopes in order so you know which one goes with which. You can't number the envelopes because then you'll know what question, this question was in envelope A. So you'll just have to keep track of your envelopes. And then obviously when you're done, you open up the envelopes and you can interpret. I usually interpreted my impressions after looking at the question because I had to put it in context to that. You're also welcome to interpret before opening them just to further expel conscious bias. And that has been a surefire way for me to remove conscious bias. Your subconscious and your intuition knows what the question is. You don't need to see it or even know it. In fact, you can ask a question that someone else writes for you as well. So if you really only have one question, you can ask someone else to write some questions they want answered and shuffle those so you really don't know what's what. And the thing is that you will learn what it feels like when you're intuitively answering versus your emotions speaking up. So it's kind of learning how intuition feels by itself because you have nothing to feel about. It's just a blank envelope. Eliza asked me, I sent it to your PayPal. Yes, the PayPal link is in the description of this video. If you have problems with that, just message me, and I'll get to that after this video. Ezra, your question, I'm afraid, is too specific to you. So it's not like individual readings that I'm doing. My apologies. So thank you for the comments, everyone. And I hope that that exercise helps you. It helped me a lot. And I'd love to hear from you how that exercise goes. Now, someone mentioned they've been feeling very emotional lately. Nikki, there's a shadow period. I have to look up the exact title it's known by, but there's a brief period before Mercury actually goes into retrograde and directly after it leaves it. So sometimes we can start feeling it before it actually hits. So that is what I have to say about that. All right. I don't think we have any more questions. So that is my little talk about Mercury retrograde in Pisces, what it has in store for us, and how you can make the most of it. It is up to you, because you have free will always, how you will use the influence that is available to all of us. So I just want you to know that is a profound transformation opportunity. And I may talk more about it or do like a little meditation or something later on in the middle of it. So yes, thank you everyone for joining me. And again, I am offering a 15-minute reading and healing session through Facebook Messenger for $30. If you're interested in this, you're welcome to message me to arrange that. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have it today, you just schedule and book it. You can pay through the PayPal link in the description of the video. And what this session is going to be targeting is that I will intuitively read your energy for what it is you need to release during this period. And the healing will actually target those very things and assist you in releasing it. For some of you, that release will happen right then, immediately, and for some of you, it will instigate the process of release over the next few days or weeks, because everyone's highly individual. Lana, yes, this video will be available for replay on my Facebook page and my YouTube, which is also under my name. So, all right, everyone, thank you for joining me. And I'm very grateful that you're all here. I love talking to you guys and sharing this information and kind of engaging spiritually with you all. So be blessed, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to close this by setting an intention for this retrograde period. You're welcome to accept this intention for yourself or set an intention by you, for you. We are the creators of our reality, so this is a great way to engage our manifestation power. We all come from one source, and we are the million facets of its nature. Therefore, anything that is part of source or that it has, we have as well. This Mercury retrograde period is going to bring us, has brought us emotional liberation. This retrograde brings us a cleansing of our emotional being and of our hearts, releasing us from all bitterness, resentment, disappointment, and blame, whether we are blaming others or ourselves. It brings a cleansing of these things. This period brings us a liberation and a renewal through all of our emotional layers. We are ready. We are ready to face life and to take it in with new eyes and a new heart. Innocence can be regained. Purity is a state of being. Nothing is ever ruined. We can be new again. We are grateful. Thank you. And so it is. So, again, have a wonderful evening and be blessed, everyone.